the professional team focus on parents, country, paperwork. We all need to be correctly, but the family still needs somebody to connect the dots, all the entire sequence. The Conscious Creation series that we are planning to film are building towards the family as nucleus of the society. The stories in this series are based on real situations based on our operational day-to-day. So identifying details have been changed or combined to protect the privacy of the family members, the surrogates, the doctors, all our professionals and people involved. So enjoy, this is episode 1. How to build maximum legal protection for your family. Talking with our IPs, when most of them imagine international surrogacy, they cross their mind the pregnancy, the embryo transfer, coming to Mexico, connecting for the heartbeat, the ultrasounds, and eventually the moment they hold their baby. But the legal process does not begin at the hospital. It does not begin when the baby is born. And it certainly should not begin when the parents are already asking, how do we get home? The legal process begins way earlier. Sometimes it begins with something as simple as name written differently in 2 documents. Let me tell you about one of the situations that we helped shape the way out. So a couple came to us after several years of fertility treatments back home. They had already created embryos, they had already spoken with clinics, and they had spent the money, time, and significant amount of emotional energy we all know about. From their perspective, they were ready. They believed that the next step was finding a surrogate and scheduling a transfer. That is a very understandable way to see the process. But after years of infertility, people and IPs want to move faster. They want to date, they want to match. We want evidence that our family is finally moving forward. But when we reviewed the documentation, we found something that looked minor. The name on the fertility documentation did not match the name on the parent's passport. Not exactly. One record included a second surname and another used a shortened version of the name. A previous clinic had followed on naming conventionally. The new clinic, we use another. Everyone involved understood who the embryos belonged to. There was no confusion at all. But international family formation does not depend only on what people can understand. It depends on what institutions can verify. A clinic might know who the patient is. A hospital may understand the case for sure. A lawyer may understand the parents' intentions, documentations, but later a civil registry, a consulate, or an immigration authority may review the file through completely different lens. They do not know the family, the history. They know the documentation. And to tell one consistent story needs to be the paperwork that defines it. But long enough to organize the file correctly in the clinic, communicating between different areas, names were clarified, supporting documents were collected. And only after that process, we continue. At first, the parents were frustrated, obviously, and honestly, we totally understand them. They had already waited for years. For their perspective, one more delay felt like another obstacle between them and their baby. But correcting a discrepancy before embryo transfer is very different from trying to explain it after the baby is born. That case reinforced something that we now treat as a fundamental principle. The legal story of the baby begins before the pregnancy. It begins with the identity of the intended parents, the origin of the embryos, the consent, all the documents, the medical records, the genetic relationship, and of course the legal route that may be required to go back home safely. This is why international surrogacy cannot be treated as local medical procedures, followed by international paperwork, the due diligence. This is a cross-border family process from the beginning. Let us imagine a family from the US. Before the transfer, several questions might need to be reviewed. Who contribute the egg? Who contribute the sperm? Which intended parents has the genetic connection? What citizenship? What documentation might be required later? How are the parents identified in the medical file? What documentation will be available from the clinic? From the embryo creation, what will be the hospital issue? What legal process will be followed after birth? Another example, a Canadian family may face a different administrative route. A single father may have a different file from a married couple. A family using donor material may require a different analysis from a family using both intended parents' genetical material. This does not mean one route is better than another. It means there is no irresponsible one-size-fits in all legal strategies. And that is where many families become vulnerable. Not because somebody necessarily acts in bad faith, but because each professional may only be looking at one part of the equation. The fertility clinic focus on treatment, the obstetrician, the OBGYN focus on the pregnancy, the surrogate, the hospitals focus on the delivery, the local lawyers focus on documents in Mexico, our immigration team or the professional team focus on parents' country paperwork. We all need to be correctly, but the family still needs somebody to connect the dots, all the entire sequence. Another example, the pregnancies, and in this case, progressed well. They had booked accommodation, they came to Mexico, they had purchased what the baby will need. They bring it from Canada, and they believe the most difficult part was almost over. The baby was born, everything awesome. Emotionally, it was the moment they had been waiting for. Operationally, it was the beginning of a new phase. The birth certificate had to be processed. Medical records has to be available and in order. Names and dates had to remain consistent. Appointments has to be coordinated. Traceability. The parents needs to be documents from their own country back home. And all of this was happening while they were exhausted and learning how to care for a newborn. This is not the moment when a family should be trying to understand the system for the first time. It is also not the moment when different professionals should begin asking one to the other who is responsible for the next step. The route home should be discussed before the pregnancy even begins. The expected documentation should be identified, the multidisciplinary team should be assigned, and the family should understand that timelines can change. This point matters. No serious international surrogacy program should promise that every document will be issued on an exact date. Not agency controls every hospital, any agency controls every public office, any agency controls a consulate or any immigration authority. But legal protection means that controlling, preparing the case so when an institution asks a question, the family is not beginning from zero. The file already exists. The evidence is already organized and the professionals know their roles, their protocols, and the process has a documented history. This is also why we built Conscious Creation with a corporate structure in the US and operated in Mexico. I do not present the American company as a protective or magical shield. It's not. Being incorporated in the United States does not replace the Mexican law. It does not eliminate the medical risks. It does not guarantee a government decision. And it does not make every international case identical. But what it does provide is an additional layer of corporate responsibility for international patients. Families are not entering a relationship that exists only through a local individual, an informal referral, or a series of private messages. They are working with an identifiable company that has contractual obligations, records, and a professional network, and a defined role in the coordination of the program. But a company alone is not enough. A legal entity without experience, it's only paperwork. The real value comes from the combination of a structure and execution, years of case management, medical coordination, legal review, document control, surrogate support, financial traceability, birth preparation, and the ability to recognize when the process needs to slow down. The last part is often difficult. Intended parents are naturally focused on moving forward. Every delay feels personal. Every additional request can feel like another barrier. But sometimes the most protective sentence we can say is, we are not ready to transfer yet. We need another document. We need to clarify the legal route. We need the clinic to correct the record. We need to understand how the baby will be documented after birth. Those are not exact. Those moments are not exciting moments. They do not create beautiful social media content, but they are part of the invisible layer work behind scenes for a successful return of the baby back home. People see the final photograph. They see their parents happy, smile all over the face. They see the child. They see relief. What they do not see is the file review that happened months earlier. They do not see the names that were corrected, the calls between clinics, the legal questions, the hospital coordination, the appointments, the scheduling, the backup plans. That invisible work is where legal protection is actually built. So when we evaluate an international surrogacy program, do not ask only, is surrogacy possible in Mexico? Better ask, how will May specify family be documented? Who will review the embryo record? Who will coordinate the medical and the legal files? What will happen after the birth? What documents may my country require? How is responsible and who is responsible for each state? And what happens if an institution asks for something unexpected? A trustworthy team should not answer those questions with absolutely promises. It should answer with a process. So at Conscious Creation, our objective is not to tell families that international surrogacy is risk-free and warranted. No, it's not. Our objective is to identify the risk early, assign responsibility, maintain and continuity for solving problems, and help family move a coherent legal and medical history due diligence. Because protection is not created by repeating the word security. It is created through preparation, anticipation. In cross-border surrogacy, preparation begins long way before the baby is born. In our next episode, I will explain 3 of the most common mistakes we have seen in international cases. Not theoretical mistakes, the kinds of decisions that appear small at the beginning but can become serious once the pregnancy has already started. Thanks for listening, and please DM or be part of our community, and it will be a pleasure to bring more souls to this world, and is what I've been creating to be part of the solution. Even the world is a chaos, bringing more souls to this world for a conscious family creation with parents that already went through the path of infertility. It's way different. The form, the education, the mindset that those conscious parenthood will provide for the next generation. Thank you.